And welcome to the Inland Sports Show on a Wednesday night, 6:05 first pitch. Happy National Signing Day. In fact, that was Kajaya Holloway. We just saw in that last highlight, the quarterback at San Jacinto who signed with UCLA. And I know our first guest is going to know all about Kajaya Holloway as he game planned taking on him in San Jacinto. It's going to be Beaumont head football coach Jeff Steinberg joining us in just a moment. We've also got Todd Mapes, soccer coach at King High School, and then Yancy Dodson, the head basketball coach at Riverside Poly. We wanted to bring in some coaches from a variety of different sports in the different colored tiers, of course, right? Because we want to continue this conversation of what's the high school sports season going to look like. We are all staying positive. We are staying optimistic. We're holding out hope, all those sorts of things. But right now, we just simply do not know, as things could rapidly change, as they have the last couple of weeks. Real quick, before we get to Coach Steinberg, Johnny, let's go ahead and punch up the graphic we created that have the different colored tiers here in California in which sports are allowed to go. So there's your purple tier, which we are currently in purple right now. Purple is the, I guess you'd call it the worst tier in terms of positive cases. So cross country, golf, swim and dive, tennis, track and field. Red tier, which would be if we're continuing to improve. Baseball, cheer outside. Girls lacrosse, softball. The orange tier would be football, boys lacrosse, soccer, volleyball, and water polo. And the yellow tier, if things really clear up, and we're hoping that it does, that would be basketball and wrestling. So when you look at the purple tier, the only fall sport in the purple tier would be cross country. So in the months of January, hopefully, and February and March, we might be talking cross country nonstop on the Inland Sports Show, because that's the only thing we'll have. Because swim, tennis, track, golf, those are all considered season 2 spring sports for CIF. So even in the purple tier, they wouldn't be starting till probably like mid-March, maybe even closer to April for those seasons. So it might be nonstop cross country. So if you're a cross country coach out there, hit me up. We're going to be talking some running here on the Inland Sports Show in the next couple of weeks. Now, I've got a hunch how this might play out. I think there's 2 different scenarios, but I want to hear from some of the coaches as well. We got head football coach from Beaumont High School, Jeff Steinberg, join us as well. He's got a big-time Coaches Academy, virtual, of course. Everything's virtual at this point, that we're going to get to as well. But, Coach, first off, how are you and the family doing, and happy Hanukkah?
Thanks, my man. We're doing great. Very happy with how the kids are plugging away with online learning at home, and I think that given the circumstances, just very happy and blessed that my kids and family are all in a good headspace right now.
Yeah, that's been a challenge, and we've talked about this on the show, just the mental health, not only of children, but also adults. We love to socialize, and I know football teams, we've talked about it over and over, just one big family, and they love to be around each other. And, Coach, your workouts were going great. You guys were putting in some good work. I know you've taken a break because finals are here and now Christmas break, but you're hoping to get back at it in January and keep that ball rolling, right?
Not hoping. We are going to get back at it in January. And we had a Zoom meeting last night with the entire program and gave them, some things that we want them to do during the break. Obviously, We want them to have fun and visit with family and all that. But I think there will be more than enough time that they can also get some good quality workouts in. And then we're going to resume January 11th. And hopefully, if things go according to plan, we'll be able to move to that next stage and getting ready for some sort of football season.
Well, Coach, hey, you tell your players they've got nothing better to do. We can't go out and do anything anyways. They can put in a workout at home. I know they can do that and get some conditioning work at home.
Yeah, you know what, I'll tell you what, we're really fortunate, and probably like most places, even though the workouts have been very different than a normal football practice, and we missed basically when football traditionally should have been played, I would say in 99.9% of the programs, those players look forward to coming to those workouts every day. And so we don't have a problem with motivation. Those kids are motivated. They want to come, they want to put their work in. And my guess would be that it's probably very similar everywhere else.
Now, Coach, prior to Monday's release of these colored tiers from the California State Public Health Department, we've had coaches on here before about what the season, what the calendar might look like for football. And I know coaches, they take that April 17th drop dead date, like that's when football has to be completed. And they try to work backwards, I guess, like, do we have a playoffs? I don't know. Do we just play league games? When do helmets and pads come out for practice? They try to work backwards. And it sounds like mid-February would be the last available week or time to be able to start real practices. Enough time to kind of build up into a season. How long that season is, I'm not really sure. But do you kind of see mid-February as that cutoff? Like, hey, are we having football or are we not? We got to make a decision here.
Probably agree on that. In that, you need some time to be able to get the equipment on and get the body ready. Football's not something where you just can kind of pick it up, and it certainly wouldn't be safe to do it as some sort of seasonal thing without getting that body ready and to tolerate more than one game. It's not an all-star game you're getting ready for. It's some sort of season, and that season is hopefully going to be 5 games, maybe plus some sort of modified playoff, whether it's a so-called bowl game or playing a couple games in the playoffs. So you do need some time in equipment. And then knowing that, that midpoint in April is when you need to be done. I think that any smart person would say, okay, here's how we have to work it. And this would be the date that we've got to be going by.
Coach, something, actually, I think my wife actually brought this up, and we were talking about this because, unfortunately, when you live in the Fernandez house, we're always thinking about local sports, and she gets sucked into the conversation as well. But, she's like, well, what happens if, let's say Riverside County goes red or orange and San Bernardino is still purple or red, and I was like, the first thing I thought of was you. I'm like, well, Beaumont's in a league with San Bernardino County schools and Beaumont high schools in Riverside County, because right now the colored tier system is divided by the numbers in each county. So I don't I have no answers, but did you think about that at all? Like, oh gosh,
I haven't, and I'm trying to create a list of schools in the county that would be fairly close. That if maybe they're in the same situation where you're going to play an opponent and all of a sudden you can't play because of kids getting hit with COVID on the other team, that may leave some teams open. I know that would be a long shot, but I think that once the season starts, if we get to that point, the goal would be that as long as we're healthy, we want to try to play a game every week and not have to sit. And if that means replacing a team, which we're even seeing in college, so be it. We know already the season's going to be like none other, and it's going to be very different. So I think we have to be prepared for all different types of scenarios.
Coach, I think you just brought up a great point, especially about college football. You have a college football game scheduled on a Saturday, and like Tuesday or Wednesday of that week, they're like, oh, we can't play that other team. We're going to pivot, find another school, travel to that school. It might even be several states away or across the country, and they're making it happen. I mean, at the high school level, it could be a little bit different because you're maybe just traveling to the next city over or a couple miles. But, I know high school football coaches love to, get together maybe on a Saturday or Sunday, and they start breaking down film of the next team they're going to play, that coming Friday night. But is it realistic to think, who you're going to play on Friday night, and then that opponent has to back out, and on a Tuesday or Wednesday just shift gears and be like, okay, we're still going to play Friday night. Maybe we're not going to focus on what they're doing. We're going to only worry about us, but we still want to play on a Friday night against whoever it is.
Well, two things. Yes, I agree, and I think there's nothing wrong with thinking that way and being flexible. But I think the other thing is maybe what we're seeing is that it's proof that you should probably focus more on you and what you're doing than being so caught up with what the other team's doing. And obviously you have to, you want to have a good idea of what they're running offensively and defensively. But I think sometimes as coaches, we get too caught up in and worrying about what our opponent's doing rather than taking care of our own stuff and fixing maybe some of our own issues to get better.
Well, Coach, we talked about the fact that it's been so good for the kids to get back together as a team. And again, the workouts have looked a little bit different, during this COVID time. But the coaches also love coming together, and you're going outside you're going farther out into the football coaching community to bring guys together for a virtual coaches academy. So talk about this virtual academy and how did this kind of come together? I know it's going to be in January, so we won't technically have football at that point. So maybe it's a great way to kind of build that camaraderie again and get people excited about hopefully a high school football season coming up.
Well, we're no different than the players. The players use the off season to get better, and so do we as coaches. And I just looked at this off season that we've had as maybe just a little more time to focus on some things that I wanted to study. So it's been helpful to me. And going back to the beginning of my career, I've been fortunate to have some mentors and guys that guided me along the way, and this is an opportunity to give back and put some of the guys that I know that are great coaches and run incredible programs to kind of put them in a position where they're accessible to other coaches, whether it's a guy who's just taken over a program or somebody who's running a program that's always looking for new and better things to do, and maybe even somebody who's considering being a head coach at some point and wants to get a little bit of a jump. So it's a head coach's academy. I even think that there's some sessions being offered that would be well worth it for coaches of other sports to attend. And I brought in a couple good friends who are doing incredible things all over the country to be key speakers, and we've made it super affordable. It's on a Saturday, Sunday. It's easy and accessible, and then all the people attending will have access to watching the videos once we're done. So we're really excited about this, and even had a couple solid sponsors come in.
No, I think that's great. Bringing the coaches together, helping build each other up, become better coaches. And Coach Steinberg, I wanted to ask you, so let's say go back to maybe your first season at Burroughs High School, up in Ridgecrest to where you are right now. I'm sure there's been a lot of coaches along the way that have poured into you, and you're like, okay, I like what he's doing. I'm going to take a little bit of that and implement it to what we're doing here at Burroughs or Miller or Santiago or Rancho or Beaumont. Like, what are some things along the way? How have you maybe transformed a little bit from your early days at, let's say, Burroughs to where you are right now? Because I think as a coach, you probably never stop learning, right? You're always continuing to grow and get better.
That's life. Life is you always learn, you always grow. But I'd say offensively and defensively, there's some things that we're probably doing a lot of things that are the same in terms of philosophy. Things go in cycles in football, so they tend to look a little different over the years. But my philosophy of how to move the ball on offense and how to stop people has never really changed. My philosophy of how to work with kids and maximize the most of their abilities and help them grow has always been the same. But I remember my first year at Burroughs, and they weren't in the league with Palmdale and Saugus and Canyon and Hart, but at one time they were in that league, and I had heard these epic stories about Harry Welch, who was the head coach at Canyon, and I just had to meet him. So my second year, I took our staff down and we met Harry, and became a very good friend and a mentor to me early on in my career. And he was very helpful about just running a program and running your weight room and how to put a defense together that's going to minimize the amount of points the other team gets. And so he was very helpful. And then when I got to A.B. Miller, I had started watching a lot of different videos from coaches across the country, and I came upon a coach at a high school in Arkansas, Greenwood High School. His name was Rick Jones, who is now the senior assistant to the head coach at University of Missouri. He won eight state championships while he was at Greenwood, 8. And so I called him up out of the blue, and we kind of hit it off, and became very good friends. I brought him over to California a couple times. I was able to get him to speak at some clinics, and he's been an incredible mentor to me. And so, like, probably those two guys have been very big influences. I've also had guys on my staff that have influenced me over the years. I think of Chad Stoner, who was on my staff at Burroughs and was my right-hand man for 8 years while we were there. So a lot of great memories, and I've been fortunate over the years to I guess kind of get with or hook up with some really good coaches, and early in my career I was lucky to have some really good mentors that taught me well and helped me out to get to where I am at now.
Yeah, that coaching fraternity is a tight one for sure. Coach, again, where can people get more information, those head coaches out there who might be interested in the virtual coaching academy?
So if you go onto Twitter and just look me up on Twitter, it's at Coach Steiny, and you'll see I've pinned the profile for the coaches clinic at the top of my page there. And if that doesn't work, you can always email me at the Beaumont Unified School District, or give me a call.
And if you hit us up on the Inland Sports Show, we can point you in the right direction too. And again, this will be January 23rd and 24th, so still a little bit of time, I guess, right, to sign up and get registered.
Yep.
All right, that is Jeff Steinberg, head football coach at Beaumont High School. Coach, I always appreciate the time. You are looking good. Again, happy Hanukkah, and best of luck when you guys get it cracking in January.
Thanks, my man. You take care. I always love talking to you.
Yes, sir. That's Coach Steinberg at Beaumont High School here on the Inland Sports Show. We're going to call a quick timeout. When we come back, we're going to shift gears to soccer. King head coach Todd Mapes will join us live on the show when we come back.
What's going on, guys? This is Ray Bass from Boost Performance Training. You're watching the Inland Sports Show with the one and only Pep Fernandez.
The Inland Sports Show is brought to you by Spoiled. Quick, quality oil change. Spoil yourself and your car at Spoiled. Kin Sporting Goods. They have all of your sporting gear needs, Letterman's jackets, and team uniforms. Boost Performance Training with Coach Ray Bass. Athletes of all levels and all sports are going to Boost Performance Training in Corona. The #1 sporting goods store in the Inland Empire is Ken's Sporting Goods in Norco. Whether you need new uniforms for the entire team, a Letterman's jacket, or new cleats for the upcoming season, check out Ken's Sporting Goods. Plus, now you can order masks with your favorite team, school, business, and more. Order for your entire team or organization. Visit kensportinggoods.com for more information and for the latest on the big sales. Make sure to follow Ken's Sporting Goods on Instagram and Twitter. So if you need team uniforms or sports gear, there's only one place to go in the Inland Empire. That's Ken's Sporting Goods. We are the IE. We work hard. In fact, that's the way we like it. We wake up early, we stay up late to get the job done right. That blue-collar, hard-working mentality is the same reason we have so many successful teams and coaches and athletes in the Inland Empire. We never give up. We are a resilient bunch in the IE. Everything we have, we've earned. No excuses. It's this determined attitude is what powers our small businesses, and that's how championships are won. The Inland Sports Team is looking to team up with other like-minded small businesses in the IE. Together, we can grow. We can be bigger and better. If it was easy, everyone would do it, but we're not looking for easy, just looking for an opportunity. Joining the Inland Sports Team could be the opportunity that you've been looking for.
And welcome back to the Inland Sports Show, everybody. A big thanks to our director behind the scenes, Johnny Nunez, making it happen every single Wednesday night. In fact, I said next week we should just take it off. We should just stay home. It's Christmas Eve. And Johnny said, no, I want to be in the studio doing the show. It's like our therapeutic hour every single week to get in here and talk sports. So I don't know. Johnny might twist my arm. We might be here on December 23rd doing a show. So we'll see. But I know for right now, the big show continues as we have King soccer coach Todd Mapes, who pointed out he's also the kicking coach at King High School once again. Coach Mapes, I love your office. A lot of leather-bound books and awards. You look very scholarly in your office, I assume at home, right?
Well, that's the whole idea, is to fool people, you know. About 3 years ago, we moved downtown to Riverside, and so our home was built in 1932. So kind of just goes with the theme of the house, and we love it down here. It's nice and quiet.
Well, it's a great look. It looks like you're very decorated with all these awards, and you have all these important big books. So it's a
I should wear my glasses next or something.
Yeah,
right?
That's perfect. But Coach, I wanted to ask you specifically about the soccer season, because I know normally right now you guys would be in it. I mean, this would be maybe even, I don't know, league games already. Like, I mean, you would be in the thick of a soccer season.
Yeah, we would be doing tournaments. We usually do the Citrus Hill tournament, the CNG tournament. That's over Christmas time. But obviously we're not. And it's sad. You know, I miss my players. I miss being around them. I miss just joking with them. You know, it's such a relief going to practice after like a long day with, regular teaching. And so I'm missing it. I'm tired of being in front of a computer all the time. You know, it'd be nice to get back.
I know, it's funny. My wife and I were joking about this, that we tell our kids, hey, we got to limit the screen time. You do not want to be in front of screens all the time. And what are they doing? They're in front of screens all the time right now. But Coach, yeah. I did want to ask you, because, you know, we should be in soccer season right now. And I know we're all bummed out. We want to, you know, have a soccer season. But I guess in hindsight, the fact that it was pushed back, the soccer season, to be like a spring sport, I guess in hindsight, it was a great move, a blessing in disguise by the CIF, because it gives us a little bit more time to try to get this virus under control and actually have, I don't know if it's a complete soccer season or part of a soccer season, but it gives us more time with games. I think would start, first week of March or so, like is the current calendar at least.
Yeah, that's what I understand is first week of March. So, yeah, we're just waiting like everyone else. We're day by day, week by week. Our immediate plan is to start conditioning the beginning of January, first week of January. Conditioning still allowed. And in order for us to be safe, every athlete goes through our NPR, goes through the infrared scanner machine to make sure they don't have a temperature. Then they'll head out to practice. Once they go out to practice, they got to still social distance. Then they can take their mask off, and coaches need to keep their masks on. And it's going to be conditioning. It's going to be probably 30 minutes of conditioning, plyos, some circuit training, things like that. And then the second half, actually, what our plan is the players can bring their own soccer ball. As long as they don't pass that soccer ball, they can use their own soccer ball for the conditioning part of practices. So we can do some technical work. We can do some technical training and dribbling skills and juggling. We can even shoot on goal, just as long as there's no goalkeeper in the goal. So, we do have some plans for January and February, and hopefully we'll be able to do full practices soon.
Yeah, I feel like soccer could probably get away with a lot more than some other sports. And, if, again, I'm just breaking this down to its simplest form. Soccer players are using their feet. They can't use their hands except for the goalie, and the goalie will have gloves. I know there's throw-ins, but I don't know if the ball goes out of bounds, you can kick it back into play. I think I'm just thinking, there's ways to make soccer happen. I know there is, some contact between players on the field, but in terms of, touching the same surfaces and whatnot, I feel like soccer kind of lends itself to having a better chance of happening. But again, I'm boiling it down to its simplest form. Am I right or am I wrong here?
For the most part, you're right. But I did see that we're in the same tier as football.
Yeah.
So that could be an issue. But, you'd be surprised how many times we head the soccer ball in a soccer game, and I think that could be an issue as well. And there is more contact, especially at the varsity level, than people realize. So, if they give us the okay, I'm for it. And I know the players are for it. But obviously safety's first right now, and we're just waiting for the word.
Yeah, so you mentioned it, Coach, that soccer and football are both in the orange tier, which things would have to improve considerably over the next month or two, or 2.5, 3 months to get to that orange tier to have a soccer season. So as a soccer coach, I know everyone here on this show, we're staying optimistic, we're staying positive, we want to see it happen. And I think soccer would be like March through, I think, May, and maybe if you make the playoffs, like maybe even into June if there's a playoff run. So again, I think there's still some time to have that build up, the conditioning, which would lead into practices, which would lead into the season. I think we still have time on our side, right?
Yeah, we really do. And, one thing that's positive about soccer's a year-round sport. Mm-hmm. I always compare us to football. Football, unfortunately, they don't have a club season. They're not playing outside games every single week and practicing 2 to 3 times a week the entire year. So most of my soccer guys are playing club soccer right now. So they are training. They're training right now. They're playing friendlies. They just can't play real games in California. So what are they doing? They're traveling to Arizona. They're playing tournaments in Arizona right now, and coming, going there. There was a few in Nevada, but now Nevada's now closed down as well. So I guess that's one positive and a release that soccer has over other sports is they do have club soccer as well right now. Another issue, though, I've come across with club soccer and high school soccer. Now we're playing in the spring. Now we're in high school. Now is going to be into spring soccer, club soccer.
Yeah.
And that's an important time for club soccer because you have showcases. You have a lot of college recruiting going on. So we as coaches, club coaches and high school coaches, we're really going to have to communicate. We're going to have to be flexible. We're going to have to be patient. And, for example, if I have a 2-hour hard practice at King, and then they go to their club practice the same night and have a 2-hour hard practice there, we're going to have a lot of banged up, damaged soccer players in the area.
Well, Coach, 2 things that you just said. One is, and you're exactly right about the club season. We've had volleyball coaches come on the show, and they said the same thing, like, oh my gosh, volleyball. and the club season, they're going to overlap. And you said communication is going to be key, and having those relationships with some of the local club coaches to make it all kind of work together. And then I know baseball players, softball players, like going out of state to, go to tournaments and whatnot to, they're still playing. So I guess in terms of your soccer guys, they are still out there running around. They are still playing some games, as opposed to some football coaches who have come on the show and said, hey, I don't know if my guys are really going to be in shape when we get the green light, or I know some of the conditioning they've been doing. But I guess as a head coach, does it make you feel a little bit better that, okay, when I finally get them, it's not like they've been sitting on the couch for 7 months eating potato chips. Like, they're going to be in some sort of a fitness state where they can hit the ground running, and we can start getting into the things that you want to do as the coach at King.
Yeah, absolutely. And I actually have, all of my soccer players in my 6-period PE class. It's a hybrid sports class. And I give them 2 workouts a week. So from the first week of school, they've been doing two different types of workouts weekly, like a high intensity training workout, a Tabata workout, just some video workouts from just to stay in shape as well. And so I even give them quizzes once a week as well on nutrition and just facts on sports. I'm just doing, what I can to keep them involved and so we can have a little bit of normalcy.
Well, Coach, you mentioned the Citrus Hill tournament, and I think you mentioned the Sanji shootout, and some of these holiday tournaments you'd have kind of wrapped around Christmas. Without these tournaments, I mean, what are you doing? Are you like, is the Christmas tree immaculate? Like, is it the best Christmas tree ever in the Mapes house? Like, is your front yard look like Clark Griswold? I mean, because you have all this extra time, you're not going to these holiday tournaments.
Yeah, it's been nice. I've been real fortunate that the kids have been home. My son, he moved back home. He's a junior at CBU. By the way, I miss CBU basketball, going to the games right now.
Yes.
My daughter, she's just got back home a couple weeks ago from Vegas. So we are spending so much quality time together. Kid you not, we do game night almost every night now. We've never done that before, So the quality family time is amazing. But I'll say my front yard, yeah, it's pretty nice. I got a lot of Christmas lights out there right now. I have a 30-foot, it's called like a fairy tree, but it's a Christmas tree out front. So yeah, I got time.
Yeah, we all have time, Coach. Hey, you snuck it in there because you're very, very modest, but your daughter is a Raiderette for the Las Vegas Raiders, right?
She is. She is living her dream right now. She's a rookie on the Raiderettes. She moved out there and was living with 3 other girls on the team. But as you know, Mark Davis doesn't want anyone in the stadium until everybody can be in the stadium. So she was, doing some guest appearances, some photo shoots, and so on. So she's excited. We're all excited for her, and I've become a Raider fan now.
Yeah. What were you? I'm just curious. Before the Raiders, did you have a team?
I was a lifelong Chargers fan. So if there's any year for me to root for the Raiders and not the Chargers, it's this year.
Raiders Chargers Thursday night football tomorrow night, right?
Absolutely. We'll be watching.
That is the great Todd Mapes, King soccer coach and football kicking coach. Don't you forget. Todd.
That's right.
I appreciate it, Coach. You're the best, and happy holidays to you and your family.
Take care, Pat. Thanks.
It's Todd Mapes from King High School here on the Inland Sports Show. Always appreciate his time. When we come back, we're going to hoop it up with Yancy Dodson from Riverside Poly High School. We'll be right back.
This is Alexander Madison. You're watching the Inland Sports Show.
Inland Sports. Calling all athletes. Make sure you're at your very best by training at Boost Performance Training in Corona. Whether you're a football player, soccer player, baseball player, lacrosse, athletes from all sports and all levels train at Boost Performance Training. Led by former Centennial High School football star Ray Bass, you'll develop explosive power, become faster, and add that lean muscle. Don't be left behind and get a leg up on the competition at Boost Performance Training. Visit boosttrainingsystems.com for information on their training programs and also on the Bass School. That's the Bass Alternative School for student athletes. Trying to earn a scholarship? Maybe make the varsity team. Get a spot in the starting lineup? Well, let Boost Performance Training help achieve your athletic goals.
Spoiled in Riverside. Just opened up our new location off the 91 in Arlington in Riverside. Come check us out and get spoiled for a change.
The Inland Sports Show is brought to you by Spoiled Quick Quality Oil Change. Spoil yourself and your car at Spoiled. Kin Sporting Goods. They have all of your sporting gear needs, Letterman's jackets, and team uniforms. Boost Performance Training with Coach Ray Bass. Athletes of all levels and all sports are going to Boost Performance Training in Corona. Inland Sports.
At the end of the day, you've got to run the football, right? It all goes, don't reinvent the wheel. You got to run the football. Guys, real quick, let's switch to college football real fast because UCLA and USC got together at the Rose Bowl. Number 15, USC, undefeated with a dramatic win, snatching the victory from the Bruins, 43-38. So what does this mean? Well, it means the Trojans are in the Pac-12 title game this Friday against Washington. And guys, if they beat the Huskies and they're undefeated and you're the Pac-12 champion, that's a Power 5 conference. I mean, they have to at least get a little bit of consideration, right, for that 4-team national playoff. I mean, at least a little bit.
Inland Sports.
Well, that sure changed from Monday morning, right? Because USC's now playing the Oregon Ducks for the Pac-12 title on Friday night because Washington did not have enough scholarship players, like a lot of college football teams, basketball teams, whatever. That they're going through those COVID positive cases and going into quarantine, and that's exactly what's going on with the Washington Huskies there. So USC, which is loaded with Inland Empire guys on defense, Drake Jackson, Nick Figueroa. On offense, we got Stephen Carr, Justin Dedich. I could go on and on, but there's Inland Empire guys all over that USC roster. So USC and Oregon Friday night for the Pac-12 title. Join us now on the show. In fact, I think he's been on our show more than anyone else on the planet. He is the head basketball coach at Riverside Poly High School. It is the great Yancy Dodson. Coach, it's so funny. Like, I love seeing all these Zoom interviews we do with coaches and athletes because we get to go into their living room. We never get to go into your personal space. Where are you right now? Is that your office or where are we?
Up in, this is the master bedroom, but up here in the master bedroom, I have a desk set up and, where I do, my teaching and Zoom meetings and everything else whenever they arise. My wife works at the UCR Graduate School of Ed, and so she's doing her stuff downstairs. And we turn the dining room into a little home office for her. And then I have 4 kids, who are 17, 15, 13, and 10, and they are all online for schooling, and they do, their online schooling in their respective rooms. Or my 10-year-old is, in the kitchen where he can be near mom. So yeah, it's a whole little home office setup of Zoom and trying to share the internet without it without it breaking down on us.
I think your story probably echoes with a lot of families out there trying to work from home, kids doing school from home, the internet maybe not being strong enough to support everyone, and everyone having, and you mentioned it, Coach, everyone kind of having their own individual spaces to, talk to your teacher, or like you said, communicate with your students. And I don't know, it's a wacky time.
Gotta do it. But gotta do it. And somebody's usually clicking mute on the mic to yell, "Hey, quiet down! I'm in class, or I'm in a meeting right now." So that's probably louder than just about anything else. Go ahead.
That's how it goes in the Fernandez house. I usually tiptoe into the living room or my daughter's room. I kind of tiptoe and, are you on right now? Like, is your camera on? Are you muted? Before I scream out like, "Did you take out the trash? Like, what's wrong?"
Exactly.
No, I take out the trash actually. But Coach, I do want to talk some basketball with you. As we look at the upcoming basketball season, like I was telling Coach Mapes, who Coach Mapes from King High School says hello to you, the soccer coach.
My guy.
But like I was telling him, soccer was pushed back to, season 2 for CIF, which is basically spring, and the same thing happened for basketball. And I know we would love to be seeing some, Poly versus Rancho Verde or North basketball games going on right now. But I guess in hindsight, the good news is with basketball pushed back on the CIF calendar, it provides more time to get things improved out there as it pertains to the virus, and try to get things going in the right direction so we can have some sort of a basketball season. Again, so my question to you is, I know you'd love to be playing right now, but in hindsight, it's good that we have a little bit of a delay, right?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, the time, the extra time that we were given because CIF pushed back the date of first contest is definitely a bonus for us. When things were normal, yes, it's, December 16th and we'd be in the middle of Kiwanis or some other preseason, tournament. But the fact that, we being boys basketball was made a spring sport, and the CIF date of first contest is March 12th. It's Friday, oddly enough, it's a Friday, but it's Friday, March 12th. Mm-hmm. And even though for us as Poly basketball, our first game wasn't scheduled until March 15th, that's the date you could actually start games, was Friday, March 12th. So, here we are sitting talking on December 16th, and March 12th is still 3 months away, and even if for some reason, CIF or somebody said you can't have any pre-league tournaments or non-league tournaments, you can only have your league play. Our first league game is scheduled for Tuesday, April 20th at Rancho Verde. And so now we're 4 months away. So that 3 and or 4 months, certainly while things need to change, I think, coming out of the holiday season and the winter season and moving into, early spring in March and, whatever changes that hopefully in the positive direction that can be made over the next 3 or 4 months, still holding out hope that, in fact, there will be some sort of a basketball season, whether abbreviated or not. That's kind of what I'm hanging my hat on, and hopefully the optimism and the positivity will help, and there'll be a season.
Coach, I will hold out hope until I will be the last guy. Like, I will wait until like the last day. I will hold out hope and stay optimistic and positive. But I will be honest, when I saw those colored tears come out, I'm like, basketball's yellow? Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, will we ever get to yellow? Like, that was my first thought. Like, will we ever be yellow? What was your kind of first thought? I mean, again, I try to keep everything positive, but what was your kind of first thought when you saw the colored tears?
The first thing that I saw was, the colored tiered graphic that you made and posted, or that was made and posted on the Inland Sports Show Instagram. And I didn't understand it at first. I just looked at it and I saw that the different sports were by colored tier. And I honestly thought it was just some kind of, they categorized each of the sports in terms of likelihood to return to play. And the last two sports for basketball and wrestling, being in the yellow tier. What I didn't realize, and now I have come to understand, that what that means is the county in which the school is located needs to be in that tier in order for that sport to be a go. So yeah, just like you said, Riverside County would have to be in the yellow tier in order for, basketball and wrestling to be a go. So yes, it's going to be a tough stretch, long haul. We've been in purple for however long we've been in purple, since October, because I remember a little bit before that we were in red. And, Riverside Unified, the school board had adopted a return to play protocol, that was matched up with the tiers. And, we went from purple to red and it looked like all things were go. And then, in the middle of October, we went back to purple and have been there ever since. But, like I said, coming out of this holiday season and out of the winter season and into spring and, all the other changes, and again, hopefully for the better, still holding out hope that things can go in the positive direction. I know that, meetings are being had and conversations are being had about the possibility of basketball going to orange tier.
Yeah.
Which would again be 3 weeks earlier. There's been some talk of, youth sports or youth sports in general, all sports, being designated as red tier, and again, which is 3 weeks earlier or, 1 or 2 tiers, earlier. So again, just any kind of positive, optimistic, news or hope that I hear, I'm hoping that's the case. And like I said, that there will be some sort of season.
Yeah, and Coach, what I found interesting too, that the CIF Southern Section came out with a statement today, and they said they have their own medical advisory committee, and they actually came up with a plan and submitted it to the state public health department. And under their version of how sports could kind of play out, they thought all sports could be playing in the red tier. Everything, football, basketball, wrestling, you name it, everything in the red. And I was like, well, that's interesting. And also that January 4th, the State Department for Public Health, they're going to reassess where things are. Hopefully things are going to start improving soon with the vaccine and a lot of different things.
Right.
And that January 19th, the CIF Southern Section will kind of reassess, their calendar and what that all means. So I guess in the long run, I'm hoping CIF and Public Health are still continuing that open dialogue, that conversation about, okay, things are going better. Yeah, you know what? Maybe that's a little harsh to put basketball in the yellow. Maybe we can do it in the red. We see it happening at the college level. Sure, it's not perfect, but they're doing it right now.
Yes.
There's some hope there, Coach.
That's where, I'm putting my eggs in that optimistic, positive basket, with the things that, you were just talking about. That, it's good to know that, the CIF Southern Section is actually out there advocating on behalf of, its member schools, and more importantly, the kids who play interscholastic sports, no matter what it is. That, they're making recommendations, and, I don't think anybody, unless you get to the very, tip top of decision makers, is willing to take on the liability of being the one who makes the decision. They're making recommendations and passing it up the chain of command, hoping that somebody says, yes, that looks like a plan, and then we go forward with it. But, those very things that you mentioned, CIF advocating on behalf of, its member schools, and, like I said, more importantly, the individual athletes who play the sports, as well as, the various plans of everybody possibly being, eligible to play in the red tier. Those are good, positive signs. And like I said, those other dates that you had mentioned that are, obviously future dates, the January 4th, the January 19th. And even when you talk January 19th, that very day, we're still 2 months away from the start of basketball season. And so hopefully, whatever decisions made at that time, we still have 2 months where things can get even better. And, again, that's from the date of first actual contest being March 12th, let alone, if it's only league, that it's not until April 20th. So there's a lot of time in between, and hopefully, things can get better and headed in the right direction, and we can go. And it'd be this is the first time in this would have been my 31st season coaching high school basketball. So it's the first time in 30 years, literally, that I've had this time off, a week of Thanksgiving. Usually we're practicing or scrimmaging, and they even moved the start date. In the last 30 years or whatever, in the last few years, they've moved the start date even before Thanksgiving. And then again for the last 30 years, the day after Christmas or 2 days after Christmas, if Christmas is on a Saturday, I'd have a game usually somewhere out of town. So this will be the first time where I'm at home with my kids and with my family during the holidays, for more than just the day itself. So that's been an interesting dynamic.
So what you're telling me, Coach, your family is sick of you like mine is of me.
Exactly. Like, Dad, don't you have a game? Don't you have practice? Don't you have somewhere to go? Like, jeez.
Coach, finally, before I let you go, we don't have high school basketball, but I've been watching a lot of college basketball. Dude, I love watching Lamont Butler at San Diego State. We talk about some of your Bears at the college level right now.
Oh, wow. It's fun watching. It's fun watching Lamont. They just had a schedule release of their Mountain West schedule. They're going to have 18 nationally televised games. So, if you have a TV, you're going to be seeing a lot of Lamont Butler. But just starting with this most recently graduated class, Lamont is at San Diego State, and DJ's at UC Irvine. Evan Oliver is at Chico State. Derek Rubidoux at George Fox University. Jordan Lopez is at Santiago Canyon College, going to play basketball there. Tobin Kuhn is at CBU. Jamal Briscoe is at Fresno Pacific. Those two just played each other. Ironically, San Diego State and UC Irvine played each other in the second game of the year. Carlton Brown is at Waynesburg University in Pennsylvania. Tyler Simmons is a senior at Cal State San Bernardino. Lavelle Johnson's at Saddleback. Just a number of different Bears playing, college basketball at the various divisions at various levels. I'm sure, you and your audience know, only 6% of all high school basketball players play at any level in college. The fact that I just ran off a short list of Bears who've graduated in the last few years playing college basketball, it's a blessing for sure. Proud of those guys.
That's a lot of guys playing at the next level. Coach Yancy Dodson from Riverside Poly High School. Coach, I always appreciate the conversation. Merry Christmas, and hopefully come the new year, we'll see you guys back out on the floor.
Right back at you and yours, Pep. Make sure you have me back on so I can keep my lead of the most frequent guest in Inland Sports Show history.
There's no one even close. You're safe, Coach. There's no one even close.
All right.
I appreciate that. That's Yancy Dodson, head basketball coach at Riverside Poly High School here on the Inland Sports Show, one of our favorites. When we come back, we're going to wrap things up. A quick note on CBU basketball when we come back.
96.7 KCal Rocks. What's up? It's Patrick and 40. Hey, man, you're watching the Inland Sports Show right here. Make sure you check out Pep, man. It's Inland Sports with Pep, but he's on every Monday and Thursday morning with Sports with Pep, man. You guys rock.
Need an oil change? Spoil yourself and your car at Spoiled Quick Quality Oil Change. Family owned and operated, they're committed to our community. There's 2 locations, so there's one close to you, off the 91 freeway at Arlington and off the 215 freeway at Alessandro. Oil changes are very important, so make sure you swing by. It only takes 10 minutes, and you can do a lot more than just have your oil changed. How about new wiper blades? How about an air filter? Plus many more services such as radiator and transmission. Find out more information at 2getspoiled.com. Don't wait. Get spoiled today.
I always tell, my student athletes that, hey, gains are gains. It's everyone's where they're at, and all you have to worry about is making those small improvements. I see, I've been doing this for 10 years now, and I see kids who start off, slow and end up being really good, and talented student athletes, and I see others who start off really fast and they end up, petering out. And a lot of that has to do with, the hype of being a young student athlete and having all this shine, all this glory, and then you stop working. So, and I hate that. I feel like that's one of the things as a coach you have to, really hammer into your athletes that, it's a journey, and starting in high school or even making it to college, it's just all part of the journey, but not the destination. The destination is growth. Destination is to keep moving forward. So what I do want to see is I want to see them grow. I want to see them grow academically. I want to see them to grow physically. And as long as we get that growth, they're going to see some change. They're going to be better off than where they were, and that's going to set them on a good path athletically and academically throughout life. If you think you're ready to grow, if you think you're ready to move out of your comfort zone, then come train here at Boost. Because I tell you right now, it's not a place to be comfortable. We're going to push you. We're going to help you grow. But if you think you're ready for it, come check us out.
I would say the one thing that we stress more than anything else is service to our customer. Make sure that they're taking care of whatever you can do to make sure that that order gets to them on time and it's the right quality and what they want. I've been that way since 1976. That was my goal, to reach out to local sports programs, and it's grown from there, and we've been very, very fortunate. My grandson is right over here. He's working for us, and he's going to college right now, and that's exactly what my son did 20-some years ago, and it keeps on going, We have customers that come in the store that it's amazing. People that I haven't been here since I was a little kid, and I used to come in here all the time. And then now I'm bringing my son in here, or a grandpa that's bringing his grandson in here that came in here when we first opened back in '76. We just feel so fortunate to have been a part of this community and this Inland Empire for going into our 44th year now, and it's just been a blessing.
This one, and again a 21-point lead inside to get a drop step and the hammer. 40-17. What great footwork.
That was Gorjak Gak with a big-time dunk for California Baptist University men's basketball. That was a huge win against Fresno Pacific over the weekend, and they were supposed to be playing. In fact, they'd just be wrapping up against the University of Arizona Wildcats, but unfortunately, a positive COVID case in the CBU men's basketball program, so they will be put on pause for a little bit, and that game against Arizona was canceled tonight. But on Saturday, 2 o'clock tip-off, the CBU women's basketball team will be hosting Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. CBU is 7-0 on the season, and there's only two teams in college basketball 7-0. That is Texas A&M and California Baptist University. So CBU women taking on Cal Poly. 2 o'clock tip. You can watch the game live on the WAC Digital Network. How we do it in the Fernandez house, we got a Roku on one of our TVs, so we go to Roku and we got the WAC Digital Network app, and we watch it live on TV. Well, I don't because I'm at the game, but you can if you've got Roku, or just go online to cbulancers.com and watch there as well on the WAC Digital Network. Hey, Johnny Nunez holding it down. He is trying to get me to come back in the studio next Wednesday on December 23rd. I'm going to fight him, but we'll see. We might be back here next Wednesday doing the show on Christmas Eve. If not, we'll have some sort of video content for you from Inland Sports come next Wednesday. Big shout out to our guests, and they were fantastic tonight. Todd Mapes, soccer coach at King. You just saw Yancy Dodson, Riverside Poly boys basketball coach. And off the top, it was Jeff Steinberg, head football coach at Beaumont High School. Hold out the hope, everybody. We can do this. My name is Pep Fernandez. God bless you. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. And we'll see you in some version or some way next Wednesday night for the Inland Sports Show.